I started with my blog.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to check it out, or?
Your blog? No.
Oh.
But a lot of your other materials. I mean,
Oh.
I got a big kick on them. Milo, who the heck is Oh, Yiannopoulos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm always mixed with that gentleman. I got to turn on some.
You know what? I always gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Till I saw him do that interview with Beverly Beatty, Bevelin. She's the one that's poured the ink on the Black Lives Matter sign.
I am not worthy. I am not worthy. I am not worthy. I'm going to cry because the passion with that woman.
I'm happy for her. I'm happy she's doing well, though.
I mean, I saw Paul up there talking to Caesar. Okay, I don't know what everyone else is looking at. I mean, it's like I just did like a. There's a bunch of Hispanics. I hate using labels, but here we are. There's a bunch of Hispanics, and I'm in Chicago, and all the rumors are true. This place is not as fun as Texas.
Is it really?
It really is.
So sad. I'm like, it would be easy to get a feeling of hopelessness there, because of the violence.
I was married in Texas. I spent 2 years and I was married in. She moved on, but.
Wow.
But I was married. I spent 2 years in Texas, and I'm an old country boy myself. Dallas area is where I got married in, and I cannot believe how warm and fuzzy and everyone is. You hate each other. You take it out back, come in, you buy each other a beer. It's like the weirdest place in the world.
Pretty much.
I'm sorry?
I see that with my husband and his friends. I'm like, gosh, you guys get over stuff really quick.
It's not worth it.
I know, but girls, they hold on to grudges. But like my boys, all my kids are grown now, but when the boys would fight, they'd sock each other. It was over.
Yeah. I had 2 other brothers. Well, I'm the youngest. It was never over. It was always next.
Oh, oh my gosh. So, how long ago did you write the book?
I finished it last February.
Uh-huh.
It was a gentleman much wiser than I. In fact, Felicity and I did a show with him last Thursday. He's he's an educator. In fact, I think his last title was superintendent of schools for one of the counties out here, and he just took a liking to me. We sat down one time, and I didn't know anything from anything. I had this. Okay, let's just have some fun here. Let's start with the original success book. Okay,
right.
A lot of good stories in there somewhere. I heard.
Good place to start. Good place to start, and a good place to finish too. What I found when you go through hard times, you can always find something in the Bible for it. Pretty much every time.
I've had 10 years of wow.
Yeah.
That was a fun roller coaster. It just ended in the middle of Corona. All of Corona was a blessing to me, like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
And I could save this for the actual talk if you want.
Oh, I started recording already.
Oh, we are?
Yeah. Well, I can edit it out if you want me to. But.
No, we're fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wanted to find out about your book, and this. You said you had strategy in the book.
Okay, we'll get to the strategy.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We're recording right now, so yes. I'll just let me put the gears back in order here. Gentleman, when he met with me, I somehow, some way, and I put the Holy Bible up there, but it really was a colleague and I have this cleaning restaurant, and unlike you, I am getting older, and the body can't just pick up these machines like they used to. And I'm like, I got to move on from this. I kind of mentioned the woman of 21 years, she found other things to do, and so I had all this enough chaos, enough. I use the word tragedy loosely, but enough things to break up lots of habits.
Oh.
Don't we attract what we are?
Yes.
Not what we want. I'm as of yet to attract, a Rolls Royce dealership giving away free lottery tickets. But in the last 4 weeks, I've attracted so many people like you. Something happened.
Your story was really good.
Something right here moved and I'm going to cry here because it's like, oh my gosh.
Aww.
It's like the harvest is so worth the work.
Yeah.
Now I can segue into the book.
Okay. Yeah, the harvest is definitely work, but sometimes we do reap what we sow, but you do attract certain things into your life, like what you present, what you think of yourself. You tend to attract some of the same people over and over again until you figure it out. Hey, maybe it's me.
Wow.
Because I keep attracting like covert narcissists into my life, and then I'm like, what's the common denominator?
I gotta write that down. It is amazing. I'll get into this because then the rest of our conversation could stem, because goal setting, and I'm just sorry for the shameless plug, but goal setting, the goal getter to story, is really all it really is knowing what to think. Why do we do a schedule? Why do we put down a schedule? I'm meeting Felicity a little later on today, and she sent me a schedule to tell us what to think at a certain time, and now it's even prioritized.
Right.
And so once you know what to think, life is over.
This is my order of the day. I laminated it. This is my goal. If I can accomplish all of these things in the day, it's been a good day.
Yes, yeah, serotonin, here we come. But
yeah,
but isn't that true? Because now people say, "Wow, how do you do so much in one day?" I just know what to think, and if you don't know what to think, then the world's going to tell you what to think. The world
that's so true.
Hand you everything. Let's go buy
and
a billboard. The world
is not going to tell you good stuff.
I use the phrase average to kind of keep this tells you average stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get the average results.
Yeah.
They keep things a little bit out of politics, but BLM people, all they see is racism.
Totally.
And I can't even blame them, because that's the only filter that they would have, an 18, 22-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. God sent us.
Yes, we have to get the word out to young people, especially the ones who are being positive, to tell them God bless you for being positive and doing something good and purposeful with your life, unlike the idiots on the TV.
What was the tagline I made for you and I? She'll make you yell at the radio, and she'll say thank you.
Yes. Thank you. I've been right again.
Yeah, and once again, this might stem from here. I grew up liberal. In fact, I grew up from a racist household, and that was it. And you ever hear of the black sheep of the family?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the white sheep of the family.
Oh, okay. So you were the good one.
I was the one who did something I think Jesus did, Michelangelo definitely did, is I was curious. Mm-hmm. I believe wisdom. This is just my own little new stuff here, but I believe wisdom comes from curiosity, not from book smarts. And you said you pick up a book. In fact, I got to ask you questions about yours, but you pick up a book because you want to learn about that subject.
Yes.
And people even tell me, "Gosh, I don't like reading." Well, read a book about reading.
I look it up. I look up everything on YouTube. I'm like, oh well, how do I read faster? Because I feel like I want to read more books. So I took some lessons on YouTube on how to read faster, and I read faster.
Oh, wow. Was it rewarding?
Yes, it's very much. It's simple little tips that they give you, because I tend to be vocal. So when the reason I was reading so slow is because I'm pronouncing everything in my head.
Yeah, I do too, and I have no problem with that, because I know I'm leaps and bounds if someone doesn't read. I used to have a problem with that, but that's another fun story. Well, I don't like to read. My mentor says, "Well, you don't have to. I don't have to read. You don't have to like to. But are you a leader?"
Oh,
it's like, oh.
Have you been told you were a leader growing up?
I'm sorry, dear?
Have you been told, like by teachers, or that you were a leader?
No. Well, where does racism come from? It's just straight fear, unknown. Something happened to me. It must be you.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I mean, all the troubles, which, by the way, of the most prosperous country in the world, who breaks down barriers, spreads liberty, is is the reason why you don't have a job or something. It's the weirdest, it's the weirdest thing. I don't think that way, but yeah,
Me neither.
definitely blame throwing and what have you. And
It's
it's
fear more than anything. I know that from my personal experience, because like my father actually went through stuff. You know, he sat in the back of the bus,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he wasn't as bitter as these young people who got everything. You know,
yeah.
my mother and father went through stuff. My mother used to be the help, you know, in the South.
I'm the help now, but
Yeah, but it's like you think about it. You know, she cleaned houses that weren't even as nice as ours, and in the, you know, that was how it was. But you don't see her having a pity party, you know, throwing a riot. My mother and my father, they didn't have time for that.
And they wouldn't let you do it either.
No, no.
they,
Oh no,
they
no,
had a different
no.
accent when you get out of line. You know, they had.
Oh yes, and that shoe would come off.
Okay,
My
that
mother
was
was so good with the
universal.
shoe; it would ricochet and come right back in her hand.
That is a universal thing, because after a while, I'm a boy. The hides are tougher than mom's hand. But that, to this day, that shoe makes. Oh,
I know.
what are you doing? Putting on my slippers. Just checking.
You know, I'm thankful for the discipline though, because I can go to the store and you'll hear a 2-year-old on the next aisle, and you can say, oh yeah, she never was spanked. because the way she's yelling at her mom, you know, I would have never.
Can I just ride the back of your car every day and just write down everything you say?
Yeah.
That is hilarious. Oh, yeah. Hey, we used to have spanking lessons after school. You know, you want to help with that?
You know, in my high school, they still spanked the boys. You know, Coach Lang used to spank them. Our coach.
I
They
wasn't
didn't
in that
talk
high
back
school.
to the teachers, though, did they?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm getting a little off track here, but that's I mean, it's just hilarious. I'm thinking back about what did my school do? Oh, they told my mom, and my mom said, "Wait till your dad gets home." And he always came home.
Oh yeah.
Which is actually, that's totally true. The way I describe him, he was definitely a monster go-getter, but he refused to take mentorship. He knew everything. The fear, the blaming, you see how it goes. So I mean, one time I had too many kids. If I had less kids, so I'm number 3 out of 4. When were you planning on stopping? Yeah. So, and
was he the more racist of your parents?
My dad? No, it was just it was the culture.
Oh, okay.
It was the culture. Now, let me help you where my sanctuary comes from. By the time my dad actually left when I was 13, for really, really unfortunate reasons. He's back now, but from 13 to 21, I was the way I describe it, I was empty and getting emptier. See how happy and positive I am? Put that into a blame throwing environment. I have to match the emotion of the leader. And that's what, and no one, and it was all business. And then when I'm ready, I'll give you permission. Translation, in a short period of time, I had to kill who God made. So I wasn't, I would, if in our conversation, I would watch Ms. Hatch. She's a serious one, so I'll be serious now.
Yeah.
This person's funny. Oh, I can laugh. And you'll meet people like that out there because of the heavy masks that they put on over themselves, or like me, actually killed. Now, if you kill yourself, you're empty. Then what happens?
Yeah.
Anything can fill it. And by the time I was 25. You think
that was part of survival for you, though?
Maybe. I never looked at it that way, but maybe. I never have. What do you think?
I really think it is. I think for I was the 4th of 5 children. And I
did anyone remember your name?
Oh yeah, my mother's still on the phone. She calls me 3 different names, you know. But yeah, but when you tend to mimic, you know.
Yeah.
And so what I found though is I used that in my life. I've always gotten every job I've ever applied for because I mimic. And what
Yeah,
like if they lean
yes.
in, I lean in. If they talk slow, I talk slow. But all of that is part of survival. Oh, I forgot to unplug the phone. Oh gosh.
That's probably my agent.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Is this Hollywood? Yes. No, not today.
Ms. Hatch, I really see a lot coming in your future, really.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
thank you.
Unbelievable power.
Well, it sure isn't acting. I tried that in college. I was the worst actress ever.
I would use the phrase performance or intrigue. Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of you. We'll get to that too if you want to.
Oh yeah. I always wished I could. I wished I could afford a coach, you know, because I'm learning on my own. I'm on a learning curve, and I'm learning on my own. Like I said, I'll bet you mimic. That's part of survival. Like
that's what I did for a very long time.
Yes.
And we'll get to it. So I was 25 years old, and I'll say it this way: I didn't know I was looking for leadership. I didn't know that, but God did. I didn't know who God was, and based upon raising, he's for Sunday, and then in the rest of the week you do whatever you want. In fact, the black churches I attend, I'm like, well, I see these same people on Monday. No one listened yesterday, did you? And I'm really serious, like, wow. And I use black churches, but a lot of churches, I'm there on Monday. You guys didn't pay attention yesterday, except in Texas. They do in Texas. They do.
You know what though? I'm guilty of that too because I go to Catholic. I'm a Catholic. And I come out of mass all filled with the Holy Spirit. It takes somebody cutting me off in the parking lot. I'm like, all of a sudden it's gone. And the potty language comes out of it.
Well, maybe he deserved it. No, I don't know.
I'm like, how dare you? Didn't you see me come? You're thinking. And so it's sort of sad, but I really, for a long period, I was just going through the motions of church, just to because it was what I was supposed to be doing. And I had a conversion experience that forever changed me. And now, it's most of my life is about my faith.
Oh, you're gonna love this book then. You're gonna love this book.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna study and talk myself out of my faith, because it just seemed so rigid when I was growing up. I would thought that if I studied, so I joined a Bible study, a Catholic Bible study, and then I became obsessed with reading the Bible and obsessed with all the church history and
there is some good history and some really rough spots too.
The history we could talk for hours. But there's so much that I didn't know about the faith period and all the history. It's so I could study for the rest of my life and still not get it all in.
I bet you're gonna try though.
I'm gonna give it a good try. But yeah, the history of the Bible and how some of those incorrect Bibles were printed when they first started the printing press, and then some people burned them because it said that there was more than one God. So it was just a whole bunch of errors that were in some of the first printings of the Bible. And so now I've got like 5 different versions of the Bible.
Plus the internet.
Yeah. Well, the internet's scary though, because their sources are not always correct.
It varies very quickly, et cetera, et cetera. But your wisdom will start weeding things out.
That's true.
And editing them or questioning. You know what? Ms. Hatch, she had a good idea. Let me see see if it makes sense to me, or it adds. It's study. Good old fashioned study.
Well, I thought when you were talking about how God worked in your life with Felicity, that was inspiring to me. That was one of the reasons I wanted you on, because I was thinking, you know what? People need to know that, you don't have to wait till you're perfect to go to church. You go to church flawed and let Jesus fix you.
I'll tell you. Here's a humorous story. Now I tell it here. I got 4 things in my head. Let's get one out at a time.
All right.
I was 25. I ran to the gentleman who talked about reading, and he a very, very wise individual. I think he came from the Catholic side of things, and but a very wise individual. And he was what you and I describe as a fluent. He knew what fork to use with pancakes. Okay.
Okay.
And he told me to you look like a very smart individual. You know, I couldn't believe it. I've just met this guy and he's lying right to my face. You know? He's like, who's this? Well, at the time, I thought he was
like,
no, at the time I thought finally someone recognized me. And he handed me the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and told me, well, I want to get your opinion on that. So he was baiting me is what it was. Okay. And I read it. I did. It took me 3 weeks. Like when we got back together, he's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I had to get your opinion on a second book, and it's went on for 3 books until it finally, you know, I started getting hooked. I got into the wave of things like, oh wait, there's some leadership here. And it was about a year later. Hal taught me. His name was Hal. He taught me how to start questioning. And once I started getting some of the positive books into me, I did not. That's why I started seeing how empty I was. Oh. The book that really just blasted me was a book called Getting to Know You by Carey. Now, by the way, I'm not a reader. All these fun things are here, but the pain of being empty was greater than 15 minutes in the bathroom while the family was doing things outside. And that's how I started reading. 15 minutes in the bathroom. And Getting to Know You just blew up my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm normal and they're all crazy. Shortly after that, well, they're all playing a game of getting along to get along.
Right.
My household was not a birthday or a holiday go by that someone didn't ruin it. There you go. You ruined another birthday. Blame and shame was pretty heavy.
Oh, yeah. I went through a lot of that.
Yeah. It's like, okay. So
and you know what? Did you have to learn to forgive yourself over just, I mean, because blame and shame was used to control me, you know, just basically, you know, things that you didn't want to be. You didn't want to be selfish. You didn't want to be greedy or anything like that. And so, you know, if somebody said that to you, then you did just the opposite.
Oh, are you sitting down? I could knock you on your socks right now. There's another book I read called The Go-Giver, and my book's kind of written this. Mine's The Go-Getter. But he doesn't write this. I came to this conclusion based on his writings was you probably raised like I was. It's better to give than to receive.
Yes.
Now put blame and shame in there. It's better to give and to receive. Why did you do that? You shouldn't have wasted your money on me. I don't, take that back. Whatever the case may be. And if you can't receive that, then you can't receive love. Then you can't receive Jesus. Then I can't receive this conversation. I don't deserve to be in Mrs. Hatch's territory.
Yes, you do.
Yes, but God doesn't work by blame and shame. He works through encouragement and inspiration. You know, you guys are all in the same boat.
Yeah.
This guy's gay. This guy lies. Start paddling. We're all in the same boat. It's not even a big deal anymore.
So when you received love, did you first experience love from God, or did you first experience love from?
That is the most awesome question I've ever been asked. I have to think. I'm like speechless, Ms. Hatch. The miracles happen to you.
It happened every day, I think. But yeah.
When did I first? I bet you I started. It was 1990. I got these dates pretty separate. 1998 was a breaking moment. All the studying I'm doing clicked, and I forgave my father. He no longer had power over me ever.
Yeah.
Ever, and that might have been when I started receiving love because I started giving love. So it was like 3 years of incubation. It was like 3 years in my head getting, and then it started up. Well, if you study, there's nothing. It's going to come out. If you do porn, it's going to come out. If you do the Bible, it's going to come out. If you do Ms. Hatch, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Me and the self-promotion, and it came out. It's like, oh my gosh, am I this courageous? Have you ever said something smarter than you?
Oh yeah, and but it's always to somebody else though. It's never to me. I'm like, gosh, I wish I took my own advice more because I know some stuff.
Well, there's divine intervention right there, and I got a whole book. I got a notebook to myself that says "Smarter Than Me," and it's filled with stuff like a leader is someone who extracts the exceptional from the average. I don't talk like that.
Well, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it comes out, and when I sign books, that's what I write in there or something like that. Or what is courage? 51% faith. We don't need 100% faith. Get to 51. It's uncomfortable, but
Yes.
you can't go back.
But faith is something that's hard to come. It's hard to come by, because for me, I will never pray for an increase of faith again, because I did that. And my sister said,
gosh.
No, don't pray that prayer. I'm like, no, but I really want an increase of faith. And so I got double pneumonia, ended up in the hospital for 6 weeks, almost died. Guess what? I was reading my Bible every day.
That's a lot. Charles Jones, one of my great heroes, Charles Tremendous Jones, and I hope to be on. His daughter took over the company. I hope to be on her podcast one day. And I probably will, the way this is going. But no,
good.
What he would say is, everyone, stop praying for me. I have all the faith. He does this from stage. Stop praying for me. I got enough faith. We're doing good. I want a nap today.
I said, God, I believe. Just help my unbelief. I'm good.
Ooh.
Just help.
Here's something else I wrote that's smarter than me. Ready?
Oh.
You ready?
Yeah.
So you're a little younger than me, about 20, 30 years.
Oh, no. I'm 58.
I'm 50.
You're younger than me.
We got a century, girl. And I'm not trying to show off here, but this one rocked my world. Is when I was younger, I read to learn, right? Mm-hmm. Now that I'm older, I read to unlearn. Calibration might be another one. Yeah. Calibration might be a way of even rephrasing that. And
there's a lot to unlearn, isn't there?
There really is. And maybe shape and focus. And it's like, you know what? I mean, I misinterpreted this earlier.
Yes.
Now we're getting back to knowing what to think. Now, if all dreams come from God, you're sitting in front of me. I don't know when you started the podcast. I didn't go back. I think about 2 years ago, right?
About a year, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I went back, and I mean, the way I think God works, if you use the Bible as a motto or as a map, is he starts with something tangible. Faith is hard to even talk about if you're very intangible. But I can think of a new car. I can think of paying for education. I can think of something like that. And Moses had the staff. Mm-hmm. Here, hold this. Oh, I can see this. It's nice staff, and he move on forward to, what's the greatest miracle? What's the greatest commandment? Is to love God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Mm-hmm. That's kind of intangible.
Yeah. And that's harder than it sounds. It's harder to do than it sounds. I mean, it's easy, like with my neighbor, because she's awesome, But then it's easy. Yeah, but I've had neighbors before that weren't so awesome, and those were hard to love. You ever look at somebody and you try to see a little bit of Jesus in them, and you have to squint? And they go, "Why are you squinting?" I'm like, "I'm looking for Jesus in you. I'm sure he's in there somewhere."
That's not a problem I have, but I'm sure I have other ones. Yeah, no, that one I don't have. But don't forget, I have 1.5 exes, and I got the custody. The girls sleeping in another room. Oh yeah, you better. Oh yeah, we good. And
I think that's wonderful, though, that you have a child and. I mean,
oh my gosh.
Doesn't that change everything?
It really does. I write about it in the book. Everything is in The Goal Getter, a story that teaches how to become one. So once you recognize a dream, a goal, even a discomfort is really popular. Then you start moving towards it. And when you move towards it, but there's 2 items stopping you. Comfort zone. God gave us a beautiful brain, but one of the traps is it's a pattern recognizing device. This is how I brush my teeth. This is how I answer the phone. This is how I talk to a person that's aggressive, simple or not simple. This is how I hate. This is how I love. And the patterns are all very powerful and tight. And they're all based upon patterns from other people.
Yeah.
I can't say all of them, but
those patterns do tend to repeat, though. It seems like those patterns that how people treat you, if what you allow in your life, and how people treat you. Those patterns, what I learned is I had to unlearn,
Mm-hmm.
you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
letting certain people too close to me because they're not good for me,
Right, right.
and I can love them from afar, as in
I've never laughed so much in an interview in my life. It's like, you are a 30-second friend.
yeah. So
You all recognize your phone call.
Yeah, you can love somebody from afar. You don't have to be best friends with everybody. You have to be kind. You have to be, a decent human being.
Mm-hmm.
But it's impossible to like everybody. You can love people that you don't like. Like, for instance, if they were out and got hit by the car outside, you would definitely call 911.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but the speed at which you call 911 might change. Let me see. 9. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So the second thing after comfort zone, that's one force, is us. The second force is, I nickname it noise, but it's the average of the world. Average of the world, and it's anything that stops you from getting from where you are to God's plan in your life, or your plan in your life. If it's bastardized, though, you'll also get the consequences. What bastardization is, I want to be surrounded by money. Boom, you're a banker. That's
Hey, maybe I should change that to be my goal.
Yeah, but I mean, but you see how the consequences might not work if it's not shaped well enough. But
right.
I mean, dear Lord, please save me, from the flood. Here's a boat. No, I want you to save me. I sent you a boat. It's you gotta get
a helicopter. No. I want.
And so, but noise is everything from billboards to TV stations to the neighbors, and a lot, maybe even self-talk. I might even classify as noise, because it's patterns, as you talking to yourself. And those are the two forces getting through it. And this is where faith comes in. Once you have, I want to pay for college. I'm going to pay for college. I'm going to go to college, and it's going to be cash free. How do I do that? Well, it's impossible. No, people are doing it. Right. So now I know what can be done. I don't have the skills to make it happen. The skills are my comfort zone. It's not here. The noise is my family. You can't do it. Get a student loan. No, people are doing it. They did it before. I mean, I cut lawns to pay for college. It was a beautiful thing. And now I clean restaurants. Why did I get a degree for? Anyway, so I could talk to you, I guess. And,
one of my favorite jobs I ever had was waiting tables. And I've worked at television studios. I've worked for Universal Studios. I've worked for, I've done a lot of different kinds of, every job I ever wanted, I always got. So, but my favorite job was when I was waiting tables.
Why is that?
I love talking. In fact, the only complaint my boss had was I would talk too long to the customers. And that was his big thing. But then when I had to quit, and he was like, "What would it take to keep you?" I'm like, "Oh,
wow,
yeah." It was just I needed to get back to my kids. I had to come back to that. But I missed that. I still go to that restaurant because the food was really good.
Well, when I'm in Texas, which I'm looking forward to coming back, we got to visit Austin.
Please do. There's so much to do in Austin. I stay out of the central Austin because it is kind of weird. I'm in North Austin.
Last time I was there, Oprah was there.
Oh.
Do you remember that was?
No, I was probably in California.
She was being sued by the Meat Packers Union.
Yes, I remember that. Wow.
And I was there for another function, but I get it in Austin. That's a flat city.
Yeah. We live up in the hill country though. We live up because we golf, and we had to be where golf courses are.
There's none on the south side.
No, not on South Austin. But North Austin's pretty red though, thank goodness. There's still a few, liberals out here, and I find them I find them fascinated anyway, because they think because I'm Black, they assume that I'm a liberal, and then they're often shocked and disappointed when they find out that I'm not a liberal. So
right. Well, don't worry. That's why you're the leader. That's why God made you who you are.
Thank you. I think so too.
I think so too.
I really think that he's giving me a purpose.
Isn't it cool walking into a group where you have to worry about your sex, your eye color, how tall you are? It's like, I'm me and I'm having a bad day, or I'm me, I'm having a good day. And it's because I have a bad day, you know?
Well, yeah, and you need to tell yourself the good stuff. I believe in positive affirmations, you know?
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
I have notes all around. Oh, yeah.
You will love this book.
Yes.
I'll use that as a segue to, I'm walking you through the formula of it. So you have comfort zone, you have noise, you have God's plan in your life, or a plan that makes sense to you. If someone doesn't understand Christian values, whatever, this is a good way to talk about it. Are you locked up? Okay, there. It's a good way easy way to talk about it. So
right.
It's likes. So if you want a big goal in your life, it's a like, a dislike, or a discomfort. You know, what's bothering you at work, maybe, or, you know, something's just bothering you, you know, and you can get over it. Like being late all the time. That's a very good goal to learn how to undo.
Oh,
now,
yes.
To go
it's
from
a trial. That's a trial.
Comfort zone to God's plan requires something I call faith. That can be done. The school can be paid for. Someone has done it. And I just don't know how to do it yet. And the first step is creating what I call a foundation of thoughts. Most of this is revealed in the textbook that's coming out soon, hopefully this week. But you'll see this, a foundation of thoughts. Your affirmations fall right into that. Reading falls into that. Association falls into that. And the more pressed, the more you start putting this into your head. Now, here's the key thing, especially about affirmations. You have to study things that hurt to study. I have a card. I'm not next to I have my original affirmation set, and one of the cards says, "I'm excited about Tim Phillips."
Oh,
I wasn't.
Oh,
Ashamed of Tim Phillips, but I had to. Remember, if you're empty, then you're a victim. I'm not worthy, et cetera, et cetera.
Some people never figure out that they're empty, though.
No, they don't.
They don't even know. I mean, when did you become acutely aware that you have an immortal soul?
Very shortly after meeting Hal.
Yeah.
Very shortly. And not only that is, I did not know how. I was a living broken clock. I knew things, but I had no verification it was right or wrong because I questioned the source. You know, I hate to say my parents were not lazy. If there's anything I can really be excited about being part of the Phillips household is you don't work, don't eat, you know?
Well, yeah, my parents my father was surprised when somebody only had one job. You have one job?
Exactly. Yeah.
It was like,
what's wrong with that one?
One job? I remember because he would be a longshoreman and he was a truck driver, and then, you know, he would go and mop the bowling alley, and just like he had a whole bunch of jobs. And then my cousins in Louisiana that I stayed with in the summer, same thing. My cousin Lee, he was a deputy sheriff. He ran a lumber yard. He did a pig slop business, and he ran his own ranch and farm. He was morning till night. That's what I grew up with.
Okay, Ray, can I blow your mind right now then?
Yes. That's
their comfort zone.
If
they sat down for a day, how many times would someone come up to them and say, "What's wrong?" Just leave me alone. If you stop for a day, what's wrong with mom? What's wrong with mom?
You have to make yourself stop.
Yeah. Yes.
I have to make, you know, it's just like, I've got to, I know I'm going to need some rest. And
say that again. That is my big sin right now, is not stop. It's still would be the big word for us.
Be still the monster and know word. That I'm God.
Being still. And and that is actually one of my current affirmation cards.
Good for you.
When I lay down, I comfortably fall asleep. And I got to read it because it's not here yet.
I have to work on that too. Thank you. Tell me when you figure that out. Okay, okay.
I don't mean to be so promotional, but
No,
you're
that's
having
okay.
so much fun.
If you knew me, I'm all about self-promotion, and I'm not ashamed of it either.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great platform to talk about it. So
Well, you've got to. If you want to have something be successful, you have to believe in what you produce.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Mason Weaver?
That sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
He's a if you ever get, I got a bunch of his books. Once again, I'm using the label. He's a black man, but he's a former Black Panther. You know.
Yes, I do remember him now. I've seen him on TV.
Yeah. He's I think he's semi-retired right now. He's old. He's pretty old. But I had the privilege of seeing him in person, and rock my that. If I was going to put bullet points in my life, and I found a man. I found a hero in my life, and I started following him, and we've done some. Actually, him and I did some work together before I did this.
I'd love to meet him.
He's so self-promoting. Hi, you all. I'm self-promoting here, and my books are over here to get me home, and I don't see anybody. That's him.
No shame in my game. No shame in my game. Because you know what? Especially with something like a podcast, if you don't get it out there, how are people going to find you? You know.
I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to
Good. Say nice things.
Absolutely. So the last thing I talked about was the foundation of thoughts, and we kind of covered it quite nicely. But all these foundation of positive affirmations, of things that are smarter than you, and as you start moving on that line of faith. Now, faith is so important; it acts as the anesthesia of the world. You're going through pain, and you don't even know it. Now, I don't know your whole background, but like one of the things I lost my job as a sales engineer at Motorola, and I made good. I did good.
Motorola.
And I went to school for a lot of the science classes, and I was able to my big claim to fame is my division rewired Kuwait. Okay. You know, when Saddam invaded, they took everything, and we did the computers and rewired Kuwait. It was pretty cool. And then,
so you were over there?
No, I coordinated from the States.
From here. Okay.
But it's a Muslim country, so everything's got to be coordinated very decently before it gets shipped from here to there. Otherwise, it goes back. I don't know who gets it. But it doesn't go.
That's awesome. You just gave me a really good idea. Go ahead. You gave me a really good idea. Yeah, I should. I write everything down. But a friend of mine, I'm going to ask him to be on this show. You kind of remind me of him. I won't say his name just in case it takes him a while to do it. But he used to be like a decoder during some kind of war in South America. You know, and he says bullets were flying all over. I'm like, weren't you scared? And he goes, well, Kathy, he goes, when the Lord wants to take you, he'll find you. I'm like, well, the Lord can find me in the comfort of my living room where there aren't bullets flying over my head. Because I'm not
Kathy, in today's day and age, that might not.
I know. It could happen.
You know, that St. Louis couple, you know.
I know. Oh, my gosh. But, I would have done what they did. Yeah. To protect my home and protect, because if you've seen all these looting and people robbing people on TV.
Terrible.
Yeah, and I don't.
How did you start your podcast? That's something I would.
Well, I write a blog. I like to write.
So it started from there, huh?
Yeah, and I tend to write. I tend to go long. In fact, my friends say, "Oh, you should write a novel. That's short for your blog was too long." But really, I get really wordy. And my father always used to call me motor mouth. And I should have went with that. I should have just said, hey, I tend to talk too much. And I've always been told that. But then I love communicating.
And you're fearless, too. I mean, I'm not saying you don't have fear, but you're very, where's the fire? That's where I'm going.
Well, I think I'm excited about life.
Yes.
I've always been excited about life, but finally this is kind of my chapter. My kids were my chapter for a long time, and now that they're all moved out, I said, when my husband retired and we were in California, I'm from Texas, but we were in California, and I got depressed. I thought, I'm going to be vacuuming this house for the rest of my life. That was so depressing.
Not the woman with 4 jobs, no.
I know. That was so depressing because that's all I did was clean and cook. And, And so I started writing, and people have told me, my teachers used to tell me I should publish, and I thought, oh well, because I like to write, and but now I journal more than I've been writing. I've been journaling my thoughts. There's a book I read called The Artist Way, and it talks about the value of journaling. And every morning, that's the first thing I do with my coffee is I journal about my art or whatever's going on in my life. And it has made me more creative. The book was right. It's increased my creativity. All the negative things that I was telling myself, I'm writing it down. I'm like, hey, and then you look at it and you say, hey, wait a minute. It doesn't have to be like that. I can change this. Some things I can't change, but I can change that. You're
gonna love my book.
I can't wait.
Jessica does stuff like that. But who's Jessica? She's in the book. And
I read the excerpt.
I want you when you see Teresa, you remind me of her.
That's my middle name.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm gonna take a break with my foundation of thoughts here. But Teresa, well, when my wife left, I had a lot of adjusting to go. I got to protect the kids, and she was enjoying herself. And you ever watch two mental midgets try to outsmart you? It's like it's like you guys really aren't this good at this manipulation game. But God bless her.
Tough. Yeah. It is tough.
It's what?
Like divorce. It's tough.
Oh,
my first husband died.
Your tenets that you live by are gone, and
exactly.
So
everything you believed that your future was going to be, it's like a rug being ripped from underneath.
Yeah. I wouldn't wish divorce on my worst enemy. I really wouldn't. No. And for your listeners and for you and I, now I have a history of going to the cross when all hell breaks loose. Mm-hmm. When I lost my job at Motorola, I was trying to find another job, doing engineering or whatever. And when Motorola drops 13,000 people off in Chicago, what did Lucent drop? How many did these people drop? And there's just hundreds of thousands of people not working in my field. So there was no jobs, or they wouldn't last, or I also didn't have a lot of people skills at that time. I mean, you're looking at someone here that's really worked on Tim. I'm excited to say I am excited about Tim Phillips. I am the person that God created, and I'm just shaping myself into a better version of what he wanted. He can run the universe. I'll do what I can do with this guy, this little meat puppet right now. And I mean that. I mean that. But at that time, it took about I lost my train of thought, darn it. It was so good. Oh, foundation of thoughts.
I've never had that problem of the saying, I still say negative things to myself, but I had such a massive ego that I had to develop because I was kind of bullied when I was young. And so I kind of, when I went through that, and I wanted to be accepted by this group of Black girls that just, I was never going to be Black enough for them, because I didn't speak perfect Ebonics, and I tried.
You're not Black enough for me either, by the way.
There's some people that would never be Black enough for. So no matter how hard you try, I even tried to speak better Ebonics, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it just wasn't coming out as genuine. And so, I can't sound country when I'm around my family, and that comes naturally. But it's just. So I decided, screw them. I'm going to be who I'm wanting to be in 11th grade. And I said, I'm going to quit that club. I'm going to join and do stuff I like to do. I like debate. I like speech. I joined the choir. I did stuff I like. And guess what? All of a sudden making friends that we had stuff in common, not trying to be a part of a group that I had nothing in common with.
And I believe, in a very positive way, that was your ego. How'd you say it? Your dominant. How did you phrase it? I'm sorry.
I forgot.
The ego side of you. Because of that, it was allowed you to develop in a healthier area. I mean, big time.
Yes,
and that's a blessing to you.
Oh yeah, I look at that time now because I developed such an attitude.
Can you imagine now you and your husband now being invited out to events? like this. Anthony Brian ABL, Mr. Logan. I mean, I would love to sit in his presence, just watching him work. And he's like, I'm just working, leave me alone. It's not, but now you are attracting these types of groups of people, and it's going to be bigger and bigger. And then the more you serve, the more money we make. I like money. Love people, like money.
Money's good. Nothing wrong with money. But it's just people obsessed with it. You know, like, for instance, some people talk about money all the time, but they never make any. You just talk. I want to make money.
Read the book. And you will. And you will, without a doubt in my mind.
Hopefully your book will help me readjust, because I have to readjust my goal. Because, you know, sometimes you get to a certain place and you're like, you know what? I might want to rethink it. Maybe what I wanted wasn't exactly that, because I see another direction that would be better for me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when I'm done this phone call, I'm going to do an awesome prayer, because I want to pray. I like praying.
Awesome.
I'm going to pray with you. I'm going to pray with you too. Is that okay?
I'd pray with anybody at the drop of a hat.
So hold on. I think, come on in, KK. So. We got.
Is that your daughter?
No, that's my assistant. Go see if Bonnie's up and at 'em. They got. Anything can happen on the Kathy Hatch show.
My show. My husband just came home from golfing, and he didn't know I was doing a show. And all I can hear is the garage door going up and down. I'm like, oh my gosh! I hope it's not picking it up. I have no control, you know.
Okay. Well, oh gosh, how can I take this? So, because of all these little minor tragedies, one lesson I learned was to take it to God. So when day one, I'm leaving you for this real stupid guy. That's my word. I'd be a great guy. I don't know. You can't.
You know what?
A weak moral, great guy. And
yeah, so, I'm sure he's a really great guy.
I don't know.
Right.
But I dropped my daughter off at cheer, and then I walked into the woods, and it says, Lord, I'm broken, your will, not mine. And then that peace starts just filling you, just starts flooding you. I had a lot of adjustment to go through still, but now the anger towards the spouse is gone. That was monstrous.
I bet.
And the same thing will happen for you.
There's some people I need to forgive, and I keep thinking I've forgiven them, and then I'll see them, I'm thinking, you know, that I must not have forgiven them, because I thought I had, and I prayed on it, and I think I keep holding on to a little bit of that unforgiveness. I'm
like Felicity. We don't hold on to things. Remember, I emailed you that. It's like, I'm not praying about healing enough. You just forget. But we're not going to be holding on to that pain anymore. In fact, as I'm talking to you, my right arm's when it's damaged. Don't even feel it. Okay. The angels are saying, you're no pain. We're talking to Ms. Hatch.
Pray for me to get over that. You know,
it's done. I'm going to pray for you to receive it.
Okay.
It's done. It's done. Oh my gosh, Ms. Hatch, you're glowing. So I'm not quite sure to take all that stuff. The end part of building a foundation of thoughts is you start attracting people that will help you and repel those who don't. Here's the miracle that does happen for anybody who pursues at least my pattern. It's not a new pattern. I had a pastor approved. You know, I'm not bastardizing the Bible. It's just how we learn and grow through things. When we were little, getting driving a bicycle for the first time is goal setting. It changes your life. You can't unlearn a bicycle.
Yeah.
Once you learn how to track that beautiful man of yours, you can't go back to being single. It's done.
Yeah.
It's burned. And what are you going to do? In fact, it's my big problem right now. I'm single. I don't know how to date.
I wouldn't know where to begin. But you know, my first husband died, and so when he died, I really didn't plan on getting married again. In fact, I told him that on our first date. My present husband.
How do you do it? You know,
I'm like, I said, no, that's not. I don't think that's gonna happen. Because who could top my first husband, right? And so
you don't top. It was an awesome time. Who could top my first wife? A rabid dog, but
when you do God was working when, and I was like completely against it, and I was still, I think, mourning my first husband.
Right.
And I went to to my priest because this guy had asked me out on a date, and I'm like, I don't know, it seems soon, you know, my first husband it seems a little soon. And he goes, oh no, Kathy, the Lord doesn't want you moping around. He goes, you go dancing, have some fun. Oh, and so I went, and we're still married. 32 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
you look like, by the way, the more positive you get, the more you're filled, your age just goes away like nothing. You look like you're 32.
Awesome. Thank you for saying that.
I mean that. If you ever meet someone if you ever meet a liberal,
well,
how old are you? 72? 24. Oh my gosh, dude. You got to get into life.
They frown too much. That's why they age.
They meditate, because don't worry, goal setting here. The tragedy of not following. I call it the dream square. Is what I call it. The tragedy of not setting goals and the tragedy. Mm-hmm. The evil, the tragedy is your comfort zone gets smaller.
Yeah.
And then it gets smaller. And then it gets smaller until it's just a person in a room with a TV set thinking that complaining is accomplishing something. And,
complainers
that's a tragedy if you don't pursue outside goals, if you don't stretch yourself. And it's a nightmare. And I see it all the time. You know, you see, well, we used to be, I was the CEO of Lucent, and he's not talking to anybody, and he's bitter. What happened between 65 and say 75? His comfort zone got smaller and smaller and smaller. So and you're not doing that.
Well, people who complain a lot, you know, they have a problem.
You're not doing that. Did you catch that? Oh, you're not doing that.
I'm not doing.
And it won't happen. It won't happen. I refuse to let it happen in your life.
Oh, thank you. I refuse to let it happen too. I'm done. You know, just, you know what? I have embarrassing affirmations, and people see them in my room. If they come in here, they're like, I am awesome. I will figure this out.
Yeah.
I am immune to the opinions of others.
There you go.
I am fearless, courageous, and brilliant.
My cards were all over there.
See?
Mine has weight loss involved. You are.
And then I have weekly goals, and then I have monthly goals, and I have yearly goals. So
gosh, why haven't you wrote a book? Those are some real. I mean, we all come to the table with some skills, of course.
Well, it's just I read somewhere that the people who write their goals down tend to get them at a higher rate than people who never write them down.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'm going to sit down and write my goals. Okay, what would I like to accomplish in a day? You know, how many podcasts do I want to do in a week?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, and then by the end of the year, I got to have 5,000 subscribers. So I'm working my behind off.
Well, I'll bring my three, my mom and my two sisters.
Right. Just subscribe. It's happening. I mean, 1 week I'll have 22 readers. Then the next week I'll have 466, you know? So it ebbs and flows, but this pandemic, I have a captive audience kind of right now because everybody's at home, you know.
Gosh, you're in heaven. You are right there. You're walking faith. There's no way you can go back. It's a done deal. It's you.
Oh, it's like you can't help it. And once you decided to do something, I quit so many things in my life. I said I'm not quitting anything else anymore. You know.
What was the most influential book you read? That's a dumb question.
No,
what's the latest? What's the latest influential book? Because I mean, we have different eras of what we're studying.
It's The Artist's Way is the one I'm reading again right now.
I already wrote that down. Something to look at.
Yeah, it's by Julie Carroll. Hold on. Well, do I have it here? Yeah, here it is. It's called The Artist's Way, and it's for artists who want to get unstuck. And because I was stuck. I mean, I like to paint. I do oil paintings, and the blank canvas is very intimidating. And so as soon as you approach that canvas,
you might already be doing this. You might already be doing this but based upon your verbiage. But for anyone who is listening, even if you don't know Jesus, you don't know God, if you don't care to know him, this still really helps.
Well, she bases hers on Christianity.
What?
This is about Christianity.
Oh no. Well, I
Oh,
talk my battlefield is in the culture, and the culture doesn't know Jesus. So
oh,
if you ever see me in the
and
real
that's
world,
kind of all of our fault, though. I think. I
yeah,
think that if we believe, like I was saying this to my priest,
I'm not a Democrat Republican rule. I'm in the culture war.
mhm.
You know, it's like
I'm a
yeah,
conservative,
yeah,
and I don't want like Black Lives Matter wants to dismantle the nuclear family. That's part of their,
yeah, yep.
and I don't
We
want
don't
that to
homie don't play
happen.
that. You know, we
Like,
don't. It ain't gonna happen. Ain't
our
gonna happen.
civilization is built on that.
No, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
It
It ain't
can't,
gonna happen.
it can't, because then I won't have hope. And for me, hope is important. I try to spread hope. You know, even if I have a
You
negative
will.
show, at the end of it, I'm going to say something hopeful, something, because I can't
Well,
stand to see people discouraged. It's you
so
just
on
see
your
people.
notebooks, not see, I think I'm talking to the choir, but if anyone's listening, on your notebooks, how will this serve God? He doesn't need alms. He doesn't need another poem written about him, but he will need this conversation serves
Yeah.
God. You and I talking together right now.
Yes, and
That
I think our
making
mutual
dinner.
love for God. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that mutual love for God, it multiplies.
Yes.
It multiplies like
Press
for instance,
down, shaken, shaken, overflowing. Yeah.
yes, when I had my first child, I got pregnant with my second. I was thinking, how can I possibly love the second child as much as I love the first child? And I'm like,
And tell them that every day. How can I
yes.
possibly love you more?
But then what happens is your heart just gets bigger because
Isn't that welcome to the end of the BLM movement right there?
yes.
You just said it right there. You can't go back. Once you what am I gonna do? Unsalvation myself?
Yeah. No, I can't reject Jesus. No. That's the thing. I have my Jewish friend. She was saying, because she was coming to mass with me sometimes, and she said, "You should try the Jewish faith." I go, "I love the Jewish faith. I learned from the
The
Jewish
first
faith."
half of the Catholic faith. It's the first
Yeah,
half of the
exactly. But I said, but for me to become a Jew, I would have to reject Christ, and I could never do that because I experienced
Have you
him
ever been to a
personally.
temple? Have you been to her services?
Well, no, I just go to her seders and stuff that she has
Oh,
in her house. Yeah, she was going to my church. Her church was in Poway. Oh, the church that she was going to is the one that somebody came in and shot a bunch of people, and I was scared that she was there, but she
yeah.
wasn't there that day. So,
Oh, that's darkness. Well, like I said, here's an example of a culture war. I would go to a mosque. I would go. I don't know anything about it. Because ready for this one? Oh, you're sitting down.
yeah,
This is unproven by me. I use
okay.
the 80-20 rule, but I believe that 80% of the people who participate in the doctrine don't believe it. And that includes Christians.
The
So I walk
80-20
into a
rule
Muslim
is so
group,
true,
everyone's
though.
bowing and talking and chanting, but I know 80% of them don't believe it.
Just like 20% of the people in the
Yeah.
church do 80% of the work.
That's where I get it from. That's where I
Mm-hmm.
get it from.
I'm
That's
in that 20%.
it's not science. It's not science, but what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of people here are just there for the food. And which gets me to the three things, all you and I are the same except for three things. There's three things that identify us differently, okay? It's the accent you use at home,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
the food, it's the spices you put in your food.
I'm Creole.
Yeah. And the products we put in our hair. After that, you
Yeah.
and I are the same. You and I are the same after that. We were made the same.
Oh,
We're done the
yeah.
same. We have dreams and goals. We can work together. We can play together. I'm just not going to borrow your hairspray.
Nor I.
See, that's another example of a cultural conversation.
Oh, yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm happy about every drop of blood in me, and I really
Yeah.
feel even though there's a in the past people will say, oh, what about slavery? What about this? You know what? My parents were not slaves. They were hardworking people.
Yes, they. Oh my God! Just you telling the story. I'm assuming they're not with us anymore.
Oh, my father's passed, but my mom's still here. Yeah.
I would love to. I would love. I've met older people. This blows my mind. There's one woman who I did fall in love with, but she didn't feel the same. But she was from Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom, she wanted to come to America so much. Now she's like her parents says, no, get back in the rice field. But the king of Thailand at the time, when the states were in Vietnam, Burma was invading Thailand. And the king, of course, we don't want communism here. So if for anyone who went into nursing, he would pay for the schooling and let them go to the States. So at 18, just like you. I'm going, Ma. And she worked 2 jobs for so many years, but she tells stories of how her medical bag is in one hand and her rifle is in the other. Go to school.
Wow.
I mean, that is just so fascinating. And here it's
I love
this.
older people.
My teacher used a dog whistle tone. What's wrong with you? He was using incendiary racism. I mean, I don't even know what that means.
You know what? I think before, as far as our communities here in the United States of America, I think before Black people try to fix white people, we need to fix ourselves. I think that there's a lot of colorism and racism within the Black.
I've never noticed.
Oh, on Facebook all morning, everybody's, well, Kamala's not Black enough. I'm like, well, who cares? Really, I don't care.
That's actually, you know what? If you hit recording, I wanted to make a bunch of jokes at it.
But really, it's the way that it's always been. That it's always been that no matter what you do, somebody's not going to be happy, and you can't make everybody happy.
How can you be a good Catholic if you think this? I'm a terrible Catholic. I better go again.
I'm the worst.
I better go.
I'm the worst, and I don't even.
Eucharist me, baby.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having a little bit of fun.
Well, that's okay. I'm a Eucharistic minister at my church.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say, I'm just saying, I'm a bad Catholic.
I'm there for the happy meal. So whenever if I don't like what the priest has to say, I'm like, I'm good. I'm here for the Eucharist. It doesn't matter what their personality is to me. But we had this one priest I've gone to churches all over the world, and you're just not gonna like all of them. You know what I mean? But when I had this one that was just sort of mean, or at least people thought he was mean, but he was just not warm and fuzzy. And my kids were scared of him, because he would say odd things. Like he said to my boys one time, he goes, Daniel, Robert, you're the best behaved kids in the church. Does your mother beat you before she brings you to church? I'm like, what?
No, she beats me afterwards.
Hey, one time I had to spank one.
No, I'm just having some fun with
that. My son, he was making all this noise with his shoes on the hard wood. And I was like, stop it, Daniel. Stop it. Oh my gosh. But this is how God is. My son was the only one. I had to march him out of that church. I went and sat in the car and I swatted him on the butt. And he said, but I don't like church. I said, I don't care if you like church.
You don't have to like it. That wasn't part of the test.
I didn't ask you if you liked it. That was, but the thing is, I swatted him on the butt. We marched back in there, and this little Rose Parisi lady, little Italian lady, she says, you should have let me take him. He was making so much noise.
Isn't that how we started our conversation? We got practice out back for spankings.
But guess what? He's my only child that's still going to mass. And I said to him that day, I said, I don't care if you like it or not. You're going to put your hands together and you're going to sit like a little soldier and you're not going to make any more noise. He sat like a little soldier. He ended up serving 8 years in the Air Force. My little soldier.
Mama's proud.
I'm very proud. I'm very proud. But you think about it, I'm thinking he was the worst one at church. Now everybody else, I'm trying to get them to come back to church. But yeah.
Yeah, get him around me. We'll talk about it. Are they married or single?
He's starting a comic book.
Are they married or single?
Oh, he's single.
He's single?
Yeah.
Hey, I was called John. John, oh my gosh. Do you know how hot the women are at church?
Oh.
I have no problem saying that. Oh, the halos are cool. It looks good, like a nice little halo, right? Yeah, you want to go to the bar and meet someone?
Girls. There's some nice girls at that church.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm,
and of course I want him to marry.
How about the chiseled men and the ties up front? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
I might take one of them. Yeah.
I think
once again, I'm using some culture.
In suits and ties, and I love it when I see men dress up. My husband, since he's retired, he hates dressing up now because he used to have to dress up a lot. Now he wears shorts almost all the time. It'll be 15 degrees outside, and he's still wearing shorts. We went to a Doobie Brothers concert, and all the men looked like my husband. They all had on the same Bermuda shorts.
But that doesn't matter. We went took home.
We all had the same outfit. And I was like, oh my God, these are your people.
They all went to Goodwill the same day.
Yeah. They're all just the same.
Gosh, I'm worried about I'm an old heavy metal head, so I mean, it's like everyone's gonna wear the same faded jeans,
Oh yeah. Well,
but the bellies don't fit in there as it used to.
What I wanted to be when I took guitar lessons, I said, "Oh, I want to be a rock star." I ended up auditioning for this reggae band, and I got in.
Really?
Yeah, I was a reggae singer with reggae fever.
You have to. I know you like. I would love to sit down and chit chat with you about writing a book. And,
yeah. I have lived a life. I have photos to prove everything. I have lived a life, and I feel like that's why I get so mad when they holler racism. I'm like, I've done everything I've ever wanted to do. You're beautiful.
That's the little one. That's Liz. Yes.
Okay, well, we can go now if you need to go. But I wanted you to say one more thing about your book. I wanted to thank you for coming by, Zooming.
Ms. Kathy, all I see is a path of success. I see. I see you as maybe even as a guest speaker, but for a room full of other leaders learning how to lead, and that's what you and I are doing.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared of leading. It seems like a lot of responsibility.
Well, that's what you're doing right now.
Am I?
Yes.
Well, I do lecture people about leading. I do, but I don't want somebody else to do it. It's like,
are you a mom?
Ministry.
Are you a mom?
Yes.
Yes, you're a leader. Are you a wife?
Yes.
You're a real big leader.
Well, I try to be a helpmate, but he doesn't always listen to me.
I was listening to your cast with Felicity, and you talked about when your husband retired, all of a sudden you're in my home.
Yes, it was my territory.
Get a hobby.
I was like, oh my gosh, he's here all the time now.
Are you okay?
I see you remarrying though.
I do too. Oh, absolutely. I'm dying for a family.
I see you being very happy too. And I have
that's an affirmation card.
Oh, I see you being very happy. You're meant to be happy. I've never been wrong about these things.
Then keep it, Bonnie. You're on. We haven't rehearsed this, okay? So Bonnie, if Daddy remarries, what's the goal?
4 siblings and a house mom.
What was that again?
A mom.
How many boys? 4 and 1 girl.
Oh.
She wrote that down, and it's on the wall right now where she reads it, and it's like, whichever one. And so it's like I taught her a long time ago, and this is I believe this as well. But kids have better capacity for faith than all the bad habits you and I gathered.
Oh yeah.
So God operates by faith. Do you trust me? Not logistics. I gotta get a job. It's like, no, the money will be there. A job might be part of it. A gift might be part of it. Finding it might be part of it. But I am your source. I am your source for leadership, for success, for your journaling, for your booking, for your strong family. I am that source. Have faith in that. And I'm telling you all this because I'm all excited.
You have to. If you don't do that, I had to literally, within my soul, I had to give my children back to God. I had to do that within my soul. I had to have peace. And I ended up in a strange thing. I don't know. I think I have something in my Bible even. But what was causing me most of my stress is every time I would look at photos of my kids, I would think, oh, I hope she's eating all right. I hope he's sleeping. And I was, I thought I was being holier because I was praying more for my kids, but it was me trying to control the world. And so I said, God, you gave me these beautiful children. You can have them back now. I have things to do. So he's taking care of them.
You could still he still has mom out there.
He's going to do a better job of it than I gave them to him at baptism. I gave them to him when I was in the hospital. I thought I was going to die. I said, okay, I'm going to have to trust that you're going to take good care of them.
Even today, do you have grandkids?
Yes, I have 2 grandkids.
what I teach Bonnie, now Bonnie has your personality. I call it a D personality. Give me the results, you keep the labor. That kind of deal.
Yes.
That's I already know that. I'm not that way. I'm
Yes,
like,
I
let's
take care
talk
of the
about
quantity. God takes care of the quality.
I'm an I type personality. And this is the information that saved my soul. I'm an I person.
What's an I person?
This is from a book called Getting to Know You. It's the DISC formula. It's been around something since 1939. There's many ways of studying personality. I chose this one.
Okay.
All of them seem to be pretty fantastic. But like a D person D stands for dominant. Don't worry about that. But what it means is you're high people, high results. I'm sorry. You're a fast person expecting high results. You are the people who run for president. You are the person who starts the church. You are the person who says, if we're done, let's go.
Yeah.
We leave when we're done.
I really, there's several women that I know that go to my church that want to start a new group, and it's a wonderful idea. It was based on this book that we all read, and it is called. It's a weird title, because if I told you, it doesn't sound like a good book. It's called the Anti-Marry. It's called the Anti-Marry Exposed, and it's by Carey, and it's basically talking about kind of an end time thing, okay, how before, sin entered into the world through Eve, and then salvation entered through the vehicle of Mary, as in Jesus Christ. And this lady's making the case in the book, so to speak, that feminism is going to be bringing the Antichrist. It's true.
It's just breaking down the family more.
Yeah,
people who bought that bastardization
they
are really very depressed right now.
Femininity, because femininity is a perfect complement to masculinity, and so people keep trying to reinvent the wheel. God got it right the first time.
Women, I'm going to step on a limb here, and I love stepping on limbs. Don't be the head of the house. Not even fun. Be the neck of the house. You get to decide what he decides. Now you have control.
I don't want to be the head of the house. I mean, that's too much responsibility. I'm like, I'm having fun. That way, it's like if you ask your husband, if your husband's the head of the house, he has the final say. So if something goes wrong, it's his fault. It's not my fault.
But women in a healthy relationship decide what needs to be decided. We need a new refrigerator. No, we don't. No, honey, I think we need a new refrigerator.
Yeah.
Well, I'll think about it. No. We need a new refrigerator.
Yeah. Well,
now, don't tell them to get a Kenmore over a Frigidaire. Then now we start, butting heads. But
I would like to give women,
women are very advice, powerful.
But because I know that the other women listen to me. Like people come to me for counsel. I'm wondering, why are they coming to me? But I always tell them what I really think. Like this, I'm not going to say personal things, but they'll say something. I'm like, well, why are you auditioning to be his wife? Why are you cooking for him right now? And he has to earn that place. Well, so.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that is the fastest way not to have a marriage.
Yes.
That's the fastest way. And
when I counsel he has to court you, he has to earn that place at your table. So,
and I counsel men the same thing. You sold her a bill of goods. I don't know what lies you told, and write a book about it because it worked. But then you got to keep selling. You got to keep selling. Here's some flowers for you.
Men make the mistake though that they think they have to understand the woman.
No. And women think they got to know what men think.
Yeah, and they don't think that much at all.
Seinfeld said it best. What are you thinking? Nothing.
Nothing. They don't think that much at all. But we sit and see.
Okay, you and I are going to write a book together.
We're going to have to. Because somebody's got to be honest about this. People go, what is about the problem of fatherlessness? I go, stop screwing around. How about that? Why don't you wait till you get married? I know it's unpopular, but in reality, that would work. Then you wouldn't have all these. People are just reinventing the wheel, and
that once again, if we use the foundation of thoughts, they're pulling from their resources, and what you just said is not part of it. Victimhood and blame is, but
I refuse.
I'm using that as a generic term.
I understand what you mean.
But when you get into the inner city, that is it. I'm not even talking about blacks. You get into a household. You think you are? You can read better than me, and it's the dad yelling at the kids.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I've seen that. Like somebody will say, if they'll talk to me and they go, "Oh, Kathy," and this is what I get from the liberals usually. Gosh, how come is it, Kathy, that you are so, let me see, well spoken? I'm like, how am I supposed to speak?
I got my ass kicked one more time than you did.
Oh no!
And I wasn't a victim. That's how I did. Next question.
Next question. I get so many crazy.
I get those questions too.
What do people do? Why do people? People say the craziest things, and I'm always floored. My mouth will drop open. Like, I can't believe, like this one lady, I had all 4 of my kids at the store when they were growing up, and she goes, "Are all these children yours?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "All by the same father?"
That one I'm wondering about. Sorry, go ahead.
All by the same father? What the heck? You know? What kind of question is that to ask a person?
Can I tell you this, Kathy?
Sure.
When my wife left and I had that tragedy, the first thing I knew is if I'm broken, then I had to get filled. And that's a wisdom I do know. If you're broken, you got to get filled. If you do it yourself, your friend's going to sound intelligent. I don't need that. I need the actual true wisdom. And I ended up going, this is because I need to get filled. I went to 4 churches. One was a black church. And I by the way, it took me about a month to be able to worship there because the poetry in worship at a black church it takes a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
And you got to and I had to literally translate it from the poetry spoken to that. You know, you go to a black church, you don't just say I'm going to the store. I got to rotate these wheels to put some bread in the basket. And it's like, where are you going? And that's what I learned, and I was able to worship at such a deeper in such a deeper way. And I mean I love it, and I love going to black churches. And now, but when I was there at this church, I don't care if they dress nice. I don't care if they didn't dress nice. I don't care if they had three different fathers were there, or moms, or past split. Every single, if they're rich or they're poor, every single one of these families had a monster tragedy. Someone's in jail. Someone got murdered. Someone in the family murdered someone. It just blew my mind. And this is a culture. Now I'm going to come in there with my, well, I mean, I my ass got kicked too, but I'm going to come here with my culture and try and tell them it doesn't exist. So how, now there it is. So it just blew my way. And I'm sure it's pretty the same everywhere you go. You go to the inner city, but it's so normal. Oh yeah, this is a mom. Oh, my first son got murdered. Yeah, it really bummed me out. And it's like, bummed you out. It would, for me, if my daughter disappeared, it would, I mean, I couldn't describe it. Don't wish it on anybody. But for this culture that I worship with, that was it. And everyone.
That's so sad, though.
Now
that they are accustomed to that.
Yeah, and that's where the pieces are at. That's just where the pieces are at now. Through you can how do we change that foundation of thought? How do we culturally happen? And it's happening, and it's because of you. You ready for this, girlfriend? You ready for this? No, hold on. I'm not done.
You keep doing it. Keep saying the positive things. Keep doing the right thing in front of those people. Let them know that there's another way to live your life. You know, let them know.
I'm setting you up here for something really cool. Oh no, don't worry. I'm not lazy. I don't have as much of a big sledgehammer, but you get it from the Romans' time or through Jesus' time, or whatever. The most oppressed person, organization, group is the one that rises and becomes the standard, becomes and teaches. And for so long, 50 years, the most oppressed group, in my opinion, would be the black female. Here's some kids, here's some welfare, you have no support, enjoy your chaos. Hello, Oprah.
Yeah.
They have been fighting back, like you, like Candace Owens, like Felicity. Bumping into her. You got to see our conversation. You want to have some fun? Watch that podcast.
I love Felicity. I do.
It's like 2 Felicities or 2 Tims. I mean, it's just amazing. And other black.
She's so positive.
You know Cecilia Jackson, don't you? She's in Missouri. Cecilia Jackson. Yeah, I saw her speak, but she spoke when she didn't. They asked her to speak, and she didn't speak. And her daughter died at 3. Once again, got hit by a car. playing. And it's tragedy. You see it, but they're standing up saying, no, we want a man. And I'm not selling. And you see more blog posts on Facebook saying, women pursue Christ and your man will come. I mean,
it's true. I mean,
the women have been, and this has been going on for a very long time, and now it's popped.
Yeah.
This corona was the biggest mistake the devil ever put on us. We're not watching late night TV. We're now finding out what our kids learn. We're talking to our neighbors. It's like, wow, did the enemy go too far?
I'm wondering, because I said maybe there'll be less hookups and therefore less fatherlessness in the neighborhood. Because, I mean, if you have to wear a mask, then of course.
That's why I'm not dating.
Well, that's, I mean, to me, I'm thinking, and now it's all about the eyes, it's, oh gosh, nobody can see you. I hate the mask. I really do, because I feel suffocated. It's hard.
But I really I like saying that the Black woman, and once as they lead, not that I want them to, but that was oppressed. Here's all the pressure. I mean, and dad plays Nintendo. I'm not saying he wanted that either, but now he's helpless. What do I do? I mean, I got my daughter, and my ex has that problem with me. I have the power. How do you think she feels? And I'm a Christian, and mom's important, and I really pursue it. But if that's a terrible place to be for all these men, for all these generations, for all these stupid ass laws. Sorry, I said that stupid ass.
I say bullshit all the time on my show. I warned my priest. I said, if you ever listen to my shows, occasionally I'll drop a couple of words. Sometimes they're effective.
So right there, you are at the forefront, and it's like, this is awesome.
Thank you. I feel awesome about it. And I get excited to get up in the day. I'm like, oh gosh, am I gonna get everything enough together to get my show done today? And I still got to do 2 more shows before Saturday. So I'm gonna get that done. And I'm writing, and I'm painting. So it's just my days are fuller now than when my kids.
Maybe all 3 of us could do a show together.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
There's so much we all have to offer.
Yeah,
and I think that's what Christ is always saying to me. Basically, he's always calling me to do more and be talking. I'm like, I'm always talking. And then next thing you know, when I came to this church, I said, oh, you know what? My last church, I had too many ministries. I was involved in too much. I said, this church, I'm going to be lazy like everybody else. I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm not going to do nothing.
You can't do that.
No. How long did that last? Maybe 3 months. And next thing you know, I'm a Eucharistic minister. I'm a lecturer. I'm on the pastoral council now, which is a whole new thing. I didn't know what a pastoral council person did until they asked me to do it. And it's really, I've learned so much. I mean, it's basically, we advise the priest as to what's going on in the parish, and so he can make decisions based on what's actually going on.
That is, see, right, you're talking. I wanted to hear what you just said. That is just too much from the top down. What's going. Do you guys need daycare? Do you guys need jobs? What's going on? What's going on? And
we got a ministry for almost everything. And there's like the St. Vincent de Paul, they've been bringing food to the poor and clothing and diapers. And, we've got ministries for everything. And so we have to call, each of us take a page out of our directory, and we call each person to find out if their families are okay, what they need. If there's a ministry that we could send, help or even food and money sometimes, it's a hard call. It's a hard call because a lot of people too proud to ask for help. And,
it was difficult for me too.
Yes, it's a pride thing, but sometimes it's okay to accept a little help. No, it's not like.
Okay, it was pride. It was I definitely pride when I did it, when I took help for almost a year.
Yeah. It's a pride thing. By the way,
I lost everything in a divorce. The lawyer. Oh my gosh, he's got a nice car.
You probably paid for it.
Oh my! And his kid, I don't know what school he's going to, but I gotta find out. I gotta write him a letter.
Oh.
You better get good grades. I worked hard for that.
Oh gosh, I have a daughter that wants to be a lawyer. I don't know if she's going to go through with it now, but she's still interested in it.
Litigation's on the downside. Lawyers aren't making much money.
Yeah. Doctors aren't going to be, if they keep up the social medicine. I mean, doctors aren't going to be making much money anytime, pretty soon.
Well,
I saw a video in Cuba, and this one guy, he said, I have a medical degree and an engineering degree, and I make more money driving cabs for Americans visiting Cuba.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I guess we should wrap this up here.
Yeah.
I'm still excited to do a prayer and all that fun things.
Prayer.
Do a prayer?
Yes.
Okay, I'll pray in my way, and you should and you pray in your way.
I'll start. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for bringing Timothy to our show. And thank you for all his words of wisdom. And Lord, let him have a wonderful day and make all of his intentions, all of his prayers come true, because these are the needs of his heart. And I'm sure his heart is good and it's golden for you, Lord. Thank you for all of my blessings. I'm grateful for everything. Thank you for even my sufferings that have taught me and brought me to where I am today. Thank you, Lord, for my children, my husband, and all the good people in my life. And help me to forgive the people that I'm having a hard time with. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And dear Lord, I love everything that she says. Isn't it amazing how we sit down at our computers in your name and then magic happens? This is magic. We come together not just to celebrate what we could share together, but for those who are listening. Our prayers go out to those who are listening, that not that the lives are enhanced, that they think just a little bit, that we know that we did this in your honor. You wrote down that we are joint heirs to the throne, not because of what we did, but what you said through Jesus. And as joint heirs to a kingdom, we're not surrendering ground. We're taking it back in your name. We're going to be not only taking it back, but teaching others to do the same thing, to own their lives, not rent it. And that's just the perfect place to be. And let's all do it with goal setting in my shameless plug. We love you. We say this to our Lord Jesus Christ. I say amen.
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 All right. That was awesome.
That's how I pray too.
We can pray every day if you want.
Next time we get together, I'll share you hearing how I learned how to pray would be awesome. I didn't start praying until I was 33.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's a fun ass story. Anyway, we'll leave it at that.
I went through my conversion after my third child was born.
Yeah.
I thought I was faithful before. I really did. I think it's because I experienced mercy. I felt it was all encompassing.
Well, that's still powerful. Yeah. Okay, I gotta get some kids to cheer.
Right. God bless you. Thanks for being on CyberLink.com.
I'll be seeing Felicity later on today. I got questions about business, and everything I do is business related.
Okay.
I think of I like money, love people. Don't worry, I will get that around. I will serve. But I do want to make a friggin' fortune in his name, because
God knows you would be a good steward of a gift like that.
I thank you. That made a lot of sense to me. Okay.
Yes.
So I'll be chit-chatting with her later on. I'll bring it up. Maybe we can do a show 3 times to see what she thinks.
That would be good. We could do a series of shows even.
Yes, dear.
There's a couple other books I wanted you to know about too. Next time we talk. Oh my gosh, the books that I read.
See you on Facebook.
All right. God bless. Bye.
Bye-bye.